worthwhile human being to share with anybody. So this is what I started. I started working on all my little bits of broken glass, hurting and aching in every part of my body, in my mind, in my heart. It was cutting me up inside. When I started to deal with one piece of glass at a time, taking it out, it was like a shattered piece of glass inside of my body. And I started to take it out piece by piece, saying, I don't need you anymore, and thank you. And I don't need you anymore, and thank you. And as I did that, my essence started to grow. These layers started to go. I'm nowhere near this, I assure you. I wouldn't even be as arrogant as to think I'm anywhere near this. No, I have a lot of work to do, and it's constant work. We're not ever going to be able to get rid of it, because as we empty, and that was the next point, is elimination, okay? So how much do you want to eliminate? And the question I pose to you is, are you the success you want to be, or are you the success that's expected of you? Or are you the success to prove to the world what you're capable of? Because there are three different reasons, and more, that you could think about, right? So, depending on what your response is to yourself, because this is dialogue with you, yourself, and the 200 different aspects and personalities as Doug mentioned, okay? Whichever personality, you have to convince all your personalities that this is going to work. That was one of your personalities asking, the intellectual. Is this going to work, okay? All right. So, elimination. How do you eliminate the crap? How do you start getting rid of, you know, there's a really good book written, The Parables of Cryon, and what they show is this human being deep within tar. And as this human being tries to pull himself out of the tar, you can see what a struggle it is, okay? Because he needs to get all this muck off, okay? Because this muck doesn't serve him. So, you can examine what your setbacks are. What do you do? What are your patterns? What are your patterns? Because we all have patterns, okay? So what do you do? What do you do that in relationships, at work? There are certain patterns, so you need to start examining your patterns. What do you do? What is recurring? And those recurrences that are not positive, that don't serve you. Write them down. Say, you know, when I want to start a relationship, I start building a castle in the air, because I want to be in a relationship so bad. So I'm imagining that this person is going to nourish and feed every aspect of myself that I want nourished. And suddenly you look at this person, and this person's fat, or thin, or you don't like the hair, or you don't like the voice. It's got a funny voice. What's up? Hello? All right. So your castle just shatters. Oh God, that's it. That's gone. So you've created all this, and then you've given all this, and then suddenly it's gone. Okay, so what do? Examine your patterns. Look at what it is that sets you back, because between Peter and Jason, they're going to go more into the hands-on stuff. I'm asking you to I'm posing questions. And I want to pose those questions because then you'll have more feedback on how to go about doing stuff. But pose these questions, look at your patterns, examine your setbacks. Your internal dialogue is very, very important. What kind of dialogue do you have with yourself? Are you the greatest? Or you a little shit somewhere? Are you the greatest?
That's a bullseye. That's a problem.
Are you not the greatest?
Well, I'm the greatest, but I've been saying the wrong things. So.
Internal dialogue.
Yeah.
How? It's like, you know, we take a gun inside of us, we take a gun, and then we want to go out and save the soldiers and people at war. But we're shooting ourselves inside. We're taking knives and we're killing ourselves inside. And we want to go and save the world. Oh. That's what we do. What do we say to ourselves? What do you say to yourself? Anyone else want to share? What do you say to yourself? Do you think you're cute? I think you are.
Do you know what? I just realized this week that I am.
Oh, good for
Yeah,
you.
I think so.
Fantastic.
I just say like, oh, this is the same thing I'm doing again, blah, 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 you're never gonna do it. Why did you think you could do that? Or it's like, or pattern that repeats. I'm like, oh God, why do I keep doing this? It's the same thing again, good. At such a thing, you know what I mean? It's negative stuff and I can recognize it, but it's really hard to let it go.
Really,
There's
when
comfort
you
in
first
it.
walked in, it was like, whoa, that girl is so together.
When I met her, that's what I thought.
No, I don't think I'm together at all. I think, oh my God, I'm so disorganized. I've never got time for anything. Things are falling apart. But yeah, those are the thoughts that, not always, but those are thoughts that go.
And what do you, and how do those thoughts help you?
They don't.
Okay, so what do you do? What can you do? Let's take your example and let's see how you can turn it around. How can you eliminate? Just think for a minute. So a friend of mine has got an elastic band that she puts on her hand. Okay? That's a pretty cool, neat, easy exercise. You put an elastic band, every time you have a negative thought, you snap yourself. It's better you snap your little wrist than to shoot yourself inside. Okay? That makes more sense. Just snap the little rubber band and say, stop thinking that thought. Snap. No more. Or, you can pay yourself. Have a piggy bank, and every time you have a negative thought, put a loony or a toonie in there. Start paying for your negative thoughts. When you start paying for your negative thoughts, you're going to stop that. Because you know, we don't have money to waste on negative thoughts. You may as well go and buy yourself an outfit, don't you think? Or a pair of boots. Start paying for negative thoughts because they'll get so expensive, you won't want to use them.
I find even just taking a breath sometimes, because your mind starts to mind chatter, and I'm like, imagining the worst. I'm like, it's fine, this is not the end of the world. Nothing is the end of the world. It's fine, and I'll get to a place, things are fine. I got here today, I was running late, I was like, freaking out, and Jason called me and was like, so when are you going to get here? Like, and meanwhile, I am freaking out, being like, oh my God, I'm such an awful person. I'm thinking these awful thoughts. But it was fine, and I didn't need to build that White Castle in the sky that I was going to be some sort of black sheep for making a mistake.
Absolutely.
Just saying that I was on the streetcar coming here, and the streetcar just stops. And you're white and everything, and I'm white too. And I think, I'm standing up like, what's going on? And the street, and two green lights, and he just stayed there. And he turns around very politely, in a very civil way, says, it's Remembrance Day, we're staying there for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, I had to take a big breath for that one, because he was dead on. So my mind had to shift very quickly there.
And you know, I haven't even touched on the fact that I'm not even talking about coincidences or the lack of, or whatever everyone believes in, and I'm sure most people in this room will think that everything that happens has a reason behind it because it's supposed to lead you to the next thing and the next thing, and you're supposed to experience something in that moment. So anything that looks like a setback, when it does, like the stopping, actually has great meaning to it and gives you time to pause. I'm not even going to go there because, you know, we won't have enough time as we move along. I haven't even gone through half my cards and, hey, I'm looking at the clock. Okay, but there we go. Snap, snap, snap. Negative thoughts don't help you, okay? And you know what? If you need, give me a call. I'll say something really nice to you. I will because I think every single human being has much more goodness in them than all the other stuff. And we don't take enough time to compliment each other. We don't take enough time to show that love with each other. We don't take enough time to share those deep thoughts we feel when we see a person. There are things that we're not in control of. We are not in control of anything. The only thing we're in control of is ourselves. Our emotions, our thoughts, we're not in control of anything. How many times do we plan stuff and it goes completely the other way? Because we're not in control. We think we're in control and it's good to direct our thoughts. But when we're doing something that affects people outside of us, we cannot control them. We can only control what we direct and how we want. If we want to get on a bus to get here at 11 o'clock, We're not in control of the driver stopping. We're not. Yet we want to be in control because we want to be in control. We want to control. Let go of the control. Just be. Take it easy. Relax. You'll be shocked because your whole system will start to watch things from a very different perspective. And you can do that as an exercise for an hour, maybe once for an hour, and say, you know, I'm not in control, so I want to get from here to there, and I'm going to see what happens in that 1 hour for me to get between here and there. Okay? And you'll be amazed how many different things will appear. You might even not reach your destination, and you might meet someone and go somewhere else altogether that you don't thought about. Yet your plan was to be there. So do the exercise. I've done it so often. It's so much fun because you have no idea who you meet, what you'll do. Yes, Samantha?
One of the things that I've done too is I've decided to let go of trying to control what other people are going to think or feel. Because that was my biggest thing, like to your point, I used to get so stressed out about being late or whatever. I am late, I'm constantly late, like that's just reality. But I used to get so worked up and worried about what the other person was thinking or how they were feeling. I'd already made the decision as to how they were thinking or feeling, which wasn't fair. Because they might not be thinking or feeling that way. And I've done that in a lot of different areas of my life too. I've stopped worrying about what they're thinking or feeling, because I don't even know, so I can't actually assume that, and that's let go a lot of stuff for me too. Like, I feel a lot of
And that's not a don't care situation at all.
No, not at all. It's just I have no idea how the other person's feeling.
Yeah,
I can't
I'm the same.
assume
Like,
that,
that's
right?
what just hit me 8
Yeah.
days ago. I've been like, I imagine that everybody's so angry at me all the time. And it's like, dude, they're totally not.
And not only that, but what I've started to do too is I start to look at my friends, and I'm assuming the worst sometimes. Like,
Me too.
one of my friends, I knew she was mad at me, or I assumed she was mad at me, so I may call her. But then I thought two things. First of all, I'm robbing her of the experience of how she feels. And second of all, I'm assuming that she's feeling a certain way. So I'm feeling that way, which is just creating it, like, it just blows out of proportion. Allow people to feel, and I can't control their feelings, but I can control mine, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great
Sorry.
realization? No, thank you. Thank you for sharing, because that realization frees you. You can take a big breath and you can say, you know, whatever happens, happens. Because I can't control it. Can't control it. I can only control me here. Okay. So emptying out. We can empty out to a certain point, and then remember, there is, when you empty out some of these layers, what have you created? You've created space. As you create the space, what do you want to put into that space?
Better layers.
What layers? You want layers?
Better ones.
Okay. You don't want to put other people's stuff in there, do you?
No.
Especially if it doesn't serve you. If someone comes and hugs you and strokes you and says, oh my God, you're so lovely, take it, enjoy it, be my guest, right? But do you want to take something that's going to take away from the light or add to the light? So that's what you need to be really, really conscious of.
But if you, I like the idea when you take in stuff that is meaning to you, when you get rid of the layers, the other stuff, as stuff goes away, other stuff tends to come in. But if you let it be like a weed in the wind, observe it and let it go by,
Yes?
and it doesn't fester, then work on what we want to take in, which is connected to people we want to be with. Well, it's not being selective, we can't only that way.
But it is, it is. I have absolutely no problem saying I'm highly fussy. I am very, very discerning.
Okay.
I am very selective about who I hang out with, because that's, okay, so we go through the elimination, we create space. Then we go through the reprogramming phase, where you've created some space and you want to know how you're going to use up that space and what's going to go in. That then goes back to, what kind of people are you hanging out with? If someone's going to turn around and say to you, you know, you're really good at what you do, however, you know, your style doesn't really agree with me, that's fine. That's okay. I don't have to hang out with you. I don't want everyone to accept what I do. However, if I cannot communicate with you, because if my style doesn't resonate with you, I can't be with you. I can't have communication with you. What's the point of hanging out with you, right? I don't want to be hanging out with people like that. I want to be hanging out with people I can communicate with. People that understand who I am and I understand who they are.